Sociological, be shut!
Hello and welcome back to the Know It Alls podcast. I'm Ayanda Charlie.
And I'm Fezim Tonti, and we are your favorite pop culture nerds.
Pew, 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 pew. Yes, this is the first day of my witness protection program. And yes, you guessed right again. I am Game Master this week. And what I'm doing this time is going to be so fun for you.
Okay.
Because it's not about what you prefer. Mm-hmm. It's not even about what you know in terms of like those factoids, dates, places, and names. It's about your memory in a general sense. Like if I say this year in South African popular culture, you have to, the questions will be more specific, but you just kind of have to tap into your, what was in the zeitgeist? What was the feeling? What was the mood of the meeting? Which I think will help you guess the right answer. It's not about knowing it. It's about using what you remember to guide what might be the right answer.
Okay, this is a very daunting new step to this game. To this era.
Okay. We are talking about the album of the year, ne? At the Summers since 2007, which was the first year they had that category. Now, I'm going to give you, obviously, the category. It's the same one each time, but I'm going to give you the nominees, and you have to guess who won that year.
Okay.
Depending on what you might... It's not going to be hard. It's album of the year. Like, you will have some sense.
Well, I mean, I generally, as a rule, don't take what the Summers said. I say what I say.
Sure, that's part of the fun. Part of the fun. Don't think too much about being right.
Okay,
just make informed guesses. The first album of the year winner was in 2007.
Okay.
These were the nominees.
Yeah.
DJ Spoo, Wylands Volume 1.
Okay.
Or Wylands. Biggie Koza, album called Getting to Heaven Alive. Spogazi, Ubuntu Bam.
Okay.
Simpiwe Dana, the One Love Movement on Bantu Biko streets. Or Vusima Hlasela, Naledi Yatsila. Who won Summer of the Year, Album of the Year at the Summers 2007?
Simpiwe?
Yes! See, you can do it!
That's only because I did a project that I had to figure out awesome Simpiwe's dates and stuff like that, but I don't know without that project if I would have known that. That was an astronomical album, I remember.
Yes.
That was everywhere. It was huge. Simpiwe was fantastic and amazing. But that's a category. Ooh.
It was old and new. It was young and old, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say it was Spogazi there?
I did. Spogazi also was having
a moment. If you didn't say Simpiwe, I would have thought it was
Spogazi. Yeah.
But like all the people in that category like dominated that year.
I mean, DJ Spoo.
Wylands
Volume 1. That's when, remember when it rained? I think, yes, was there. Oh my God. The housekeep, don't come for me. I don't know if I'm accurate. But yeah, okay. Now, 14th Annual Summer Awards, 2008. Okay. This will be the second album of the year.
Okay.
Winner. 5 nominees. DJ Cleo for Escaleni Phase 2. Double HP, Acceptance Speech. Freshly Ground, Macheri.
Oh my God.
Jimmy Lulu, Portrait.
Oh my God.
Ozonke, Life, Love, and Music.
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know. Oh my God.
Okay.
Wait, say that again.
Do you remember 2008?
I guess. I was alive.
Actually, yeah. What grade were you? Because we wouldn't have been in the same grade.
2008? Grade... Wait, when did I finish? 2009. So I'm in grade 11.
Okay.
Sorry. Someone told me that I need to go to my 15-year reunion the other day, and I was like, "What do you mean? I'm still a child.
That
what
could
are you
never be
talking about?
15
That
years.
could
I
never
just
be 15 years.
graduated.
I just came out of high school." Angaz. But I think it's Zonke. But I think I'm wrong.
Why? Why do you think it's okay?
I it like was the rise of Zonke and like that polished, gorgeous, stunning voice, and like just her musicianship was taken so incredibly seriously by this country. Her discipline as an artist, her just approach to the kind of intellectual component of music was like available in her persona as the music. I don't even know how to articulate
That's
it
what
properly.
I
Yeah,
hear
but
you.
I just remember just like, yeah, she was just such a breath of fresh air. You know, she just didn't wake up with talent. She had crafted and honed it, and it was so evident.
It was also, she broke the sophomore curse.
Yes.
It was her second album.
Yeah.
And she like ate down. Like it was in popularity, it was strong, but also in like critical acclaim, it was strong.
Yes.
So she was having a moment.
She was having such a huge moment. And like she seemed to like transcend. It just wasn't the old cats or the new cats. Like all of us were
she came in
listening
with-
to Zonke.
And her entree,
Yeah.
because I say that now, was, it was so smart. Like she still kind of kept the Afropop house element. When we know that Zonke is inspired by R&B.
Yes.
So I think strategically, like I think also that's such a, I don't know, I'm sure someone did it before her, but I think she's one of the people who illustrated like that strategy being optimum in South Africa.
Yeah.
Like you come in, you use the dance music and you do the features
Yeah.
and I mean, even that song she did with, well, she did many songs with Mosquito, but the one about coming home. Well, I don't remember the title. I never remember the title. But that was such a masterclass in how to, yes, jump on the house kind of bandwagon, whatever the dance bandwagon is, but still be meaningful.
Yeah.
Like still make music with intention and like that is meaningful. So just wanted to add that. Like that
Okay,
was...
who won?
So Freshly Ground won for Machere.
Oh, I thought so.
Yeah. Oh, they were dominating too.
They had crossover appeal
They did.
in such tremendous ways.
They did.
Oh, I still go back to that album. I love that album. Wait, that is the album that I love. Is
Not
it?
Nomvula, right?
No. It's jokes. I do not.
Nomvula
Jokes.
would have been there first. Machere would also have been one of
No,
their...
Nomvula is the album
Yeah.
that I return to.
Machere had Ay balekanga imatoikubayo sikalelang, and then Potbelly.
Yes.
Definitely in the kind of crossover era around that time. It was
Nomvula
getting
is-
quirky. I think Uzolani was also kind of finding herself
Yes.
and her quirk in her music or her musicianship. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that era. I loved. They were so welcome to the new South Africa. About their music at some point. But Nomvula was such a poignant, beautiful, gorgeous album.
Beautiful. And of course the lead single,
Yeah.
Nomvula itself, was such a
Good. But that's a good. Oh my god,
It's a tight category.
That's a tight
Like,
category.
We've had strong albums. Okay, now 15th Annual Summer Awards, 2009. We have Rhythmic Elements, The Offering.
I'm still getting TikTok
If
hate
you know,
from
you
that.
know. We have 340 mil. Sorry for the delay.
Oh my god.
We have...
My god.
Ooh, I can't see Afrikaans. Please forgive. Chris Chameleon, Classica Chameleon, I guess Classic Chameleon.
Yeah.
Goldfish, Perceptions of Pacha, or Pata, depending on which language you speak, and Lyra, Soul in Mind.
I am a child born of love.
I don't think Lyra did though. Let love and joy be my friend. Give me peace with no end. I don't know. That's such a tight category. I
It
don't
is
know
tight.
what was happening. Oh my god.
And it
Wait, please say it again. Say it one more
So we've
time.
got Goldfish.
Yeah.
I won't read the title album titles.
Uh-huh.
Goldfish, 340 mil, Chris Chameleon, Rhythmic Elements, Lyra.
I don't know if it's Rhythmic Elements or 340 mil.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Why? Why do you think?
That's what in my part of at this point I'm in the Eastern Cape. Young woman in the
In varsity.
Eastern Cape in varsity. And that's what I'm hearing in and around Rez.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
the 2009 Summer Award Album of the Year winner was Lyra's Soul in Mind.
What?
I mean,
love and dropping my
big.
friend.
Even just the campaign around that album. He had, I don't know if it came out at
Why don't I listen to my instincts?
You should have listened to your instincts, because I don't remember whether it was concurrent to the album release or after, but she also did the Blu-ray live.
Yes, I remember. I
performance
loved
of
that.
Soul in Mind. Like, Soul in Mind was a moment. It was big. It was the first, I think, South African Blu-ray
Yes, Blu-ray.
DVD.
I
in
love
terms of
that
the music,
DVD.
a live concert, yes. And for years people were playing that song.
Love it.
So yeah, shout out.
Also,
So-
I just want to give a shout out to Lyra, who recently just kind of came back into the live music scene, and I didn't go, but it sounds like she did phenomenally, and congratulations, Queen. Congratulations. You've had a hard couple of years, so amazing. I was such a Lyra. Yeah, I loved her. I remember once, I remember once at like a youth group, someone being like, "What do you listen to?" And I was like, I guess I'm eclectic. I listen to all kinds of things." And they were like, "Why don't you listen to like spiritual and gospel music?" I was like, "Girl, there's like lots to listen to." And she was like, "Oh, music that gives you hope, like Lyra." And I was like,
Okay. Back me into a hope corner.
I was like, "Girl,
How dare you be hopeless
How dare
and
you
not
be
listen to
hopeless?
Lyra? I think we all, yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so I think I kind of boycotted her music a little bit after that because of that interaction.
Because it was so aggressive.
It was such an aggressive thing, but I'm back. I love that music.
I'm back. Okay. Cool. 2 more and then we're done. 2010. And then from this, I'm going to jump. I'm not
Okay.
going to do, the last one is going to be a random year.
Okay.
2010, nominees were Tear Gas, the group, Dark or Blue is the name of the album.
Another chance again.
This is one of my favorite names to say. Silawelo Silota. It's such a tongue twister. Lapeng Laka.
Okay.
Busi Mhlongo, Mambusi Mhlongo for Amakholwa / Believers. The translation.
Oh my god.
And then Blackjacks, After Robots. And
Oh my
then,
god, Blackjacks!
And then Big Nas, Undisputed.
Oh my god.
That was our 2010. It's remember, it's the World Cup. You would have been what, in matric or first year?
This year.
Or second year, because in the previous one you were already there.
Jokes.
2009.
I was
matric.
The previous year I was in boarding school.
Okay, so 2010. We're all kind of reaching our young adulthood.
Oh my goodness!
It's the World Cup, and this is the music that is like kind of rising to the top.
Oh my gosh, I just remember yum yum yum. Hey hey.
Waka waka.
Hey hey.
Great, enjoyed it. Great, but it did turn into an earworm and kind of like. I
think Dira.
Well, Big Nas Queen. It's a band.
Sorry,
that's so. How could she just do that? That's like saying, yeah, just need. I think Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Okay, so you think Big Nas won?
I think so.
You are correct.
Oh my god. My instincts have been right.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not fine.
But
I keep
like,
saying, like, just, it's about what do you
lean into
remember.
it.
You're right about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and now it's 2011.
Okay.
Our nominees are Zakes Bandwini, Love, Light and Music.
Oh my god.
Clap your hands. DJ Professor, University of Kalawa Jasmine. Prime Circle, Jacqueline Hyde. Flash Republic, Killer Moves. Liquid Deep, Fabrics of the Heart.
Oh my god.
This is my 5FM era.
This is 5
This is my
FM galore.
crossover. This is when I'm like, oh, Prime Circle. That's me.
Whoa.
I'm thinking I'm the most out black girl ever.
Right?
I'm not. It's all pop music. It's just crossing over.
It's all on the radio.
It's on the
sweetie.
radio, babe.
I don't know. I want to say Liquid Deep, but
And you're right. I don't even want to. Those are our winners. Crazy.
Did I have my finger on the pulse? I think I did. Guys,
You did. If you had followed your instincts, I
if I
think you
followed
would
my
have.
instincts, I had my finger on the pulse. I
You
knew what
did.
was going on.
I think also what was happening is that a few of the nominees were coming back into your memory for the first time, and so they were feeling
Yes.
like, oh wait, that was also big, and so that might have been
Yes.
bigger. But yeah,
that's a good game. That's a good game.
and that is me, Monica.
I love Monica, by the way.
Which one?
This one.
Oh, do you? I was like, Lewinsky, the R&B singer. Oh. That's me, babies. Also, I just want to send a shout out to everyone because we're now, this is episode 10, and I think I just want to acknowledge it. I think it's monumental.
Crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Crazy. Thank you so much. And also, like, whoa, we've got, like, the amount of subscribers from last week to this week has, like, been 10 people, like, subscribing, which, look, the world of YouTube is huge, but, like, we are so thrilled.
Yeah.
We are so thrilled. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, guys. Like, this is, yeah, kind of wild for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just nice to feel like there's a community forming.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And people get it. Yeah. So thank you. Okay. So, ultimate girls trip.
Have you gotten over your initial feelings?
I think I have.
Uh-huh.
I think I have something to say.
Okay.
Do I? I think I'm going to say what I mean and
Leave the rest at the door.
exactly. and mean what I say, you know?
Cool.
I generally like white on white violence.
Yes.
In the form of petty white
Drama.
woman drama.
Okay.
Crystal is so unserious. I have never, look, I guess with the American Housewives, I don't spend as much time with the white girls because I can only deal with it for so much because
A very specific level of privilege there, and like it gets frustrating because
Yeah.
they do lack an awareness.
Yeah, and so
of the
sometimes-
rest of the world. So I can see how that can be taxing.
yeah, and it just, I can't buy into it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't,
You can't get invested.
yeah, I can't,
You can't get invested into Beverly Hills. Yeah, let's name names.
I did until Erica started getting whiny, and I then just couldn't.
Oh, when's that? What's that?
Remember, I sent you that I was watching a particular season, and then
I know you had the Teddy. You watched the Teddy season. At
Yes,
least
the
one
Teddy
where-
season.
Well, the Lucy Apple Goosey Juicy Apple. Lucy Goosey Apple Juicy. My God, that's the one. That's Teddy's second season. Did you watch any more? I don't remember your.
No, I didn't watch anymore. They got to a point where I just was like, I can't do this. I can't do
Yeah.
this. I can't.
Yeah, no, I get it. Sorry,
You know what I mean?
I'm taking you off track. Go back to your thing.
So usually I don't have a lot of mental space for this thing, and I don't actually see how folks unravel. And I think in my kind of personal life, I grew up around a lot of white women. I still continue to be dear friends with lots of white women, but I have been fortunate enough that the women that I have kept as friends are thoughtful, ethical, kind, humane, connected to this country, clear about what this country needs, clear about the kind of racial dynamics in our friendship in ways that don't make it an equitable relationship. So, like, sometimes I forget that there is a world in which white women can be so absurd. And I typically see this in work context, right? But I can then plug myself out of it and go, oh, you know what? That's a function of corporate. That's a function of capital. That's a function of that. This, I can reclaim my time. I can be myself in my own world. And so it is quite shocking to me to meet a Crystal. Yeah, especially now that she has lots of white characters to interact with, Whereas
in
contrast with, whereas in Real Housewives of Johannesburg, because it was a predominantly
Yes.
black cast, she didn't get the opportunity because those women were also like, no, this is not happening here, right? Like, and so yeah, I am shocked actually by Crystal. I am shocked by that victimhood. I don't get it. I am shocked by how malicious she can get.
Yeah.
I am shocked. Because there's one thing to be petty. There's one thing to be
Yes.
petty.
Yeah.
But just like the cruelty that she employs, so when she gets upset that people are not understanding that victimhood is the narrative that she wants to kind of perpetuate in the realm of Housewives, because we'll go according to the scenes now, but you know, when she kind of gets that validation from Alton, who's now become a kind of secondary character in the show, and just I still don't have the language for it, but I just am shocked by the delusion. I'm shocked by the lack of empathy. I'm shocked by the lack of self-awareness. I typically don't think I hang around folks like that, so it's quite jarring to see that person on television. And it's one thing to like laugh at like the foolish things that she says, but like, I don't know, I think about like what the implications of this is, because sometimes in corporate spaces, white women are given space to just act with such impunity. And I often wonder if it is because there's like economic and racial privilege that's attached to a corporate environment that is created for white capital to thrive. And so they feel backed institutionally to act with impunity to their colleagues. That's been my theory, right? Here, there's no institution. Here, there is no... there's nothing that's safeguarding and making it possible for Crystal to enact the violence that she's enacting on some of these women.
Not even the world itself.
And the world, yes. And so then I wonder, like, then what's happening, girls? What's happening in the various communities that produces people like this? I don't even know if that was articulate, but I just
It was, but it feels like there's things you don't want to say and you're talking around. Okay. And I don't even need you to land it. I just want to help you. If you don't feel like saying any more or using any more words, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I don't... I've been, in my own kind of work, I've been thinking about slavery and the ways in which white women perpetuated slavery. This is not the correct way to frame this.
Do you want to take a minute to think about it while I
this
share my musings?
Sorry, I know this is going a little bit.
No, don't
but
worry.
the reason I think that comes into my head is because typically when we retell the narrative around enslaved people, there's the villainous white man who's like doing the lashing, right? And we don't kind of see the domestic violence that is happening within the home, the kind of very internalized passive aggression, the ways in which the white women are often robbed of their agency by their partners, and so enact a kind of oppression on the enslaved black and brown people that occupy their spaces. And so I recognize from my reading something about that in Crystal. And I'm really disturbed by it. I'm really disturbed by it. I'm really disturbed that it exists in this context.
What's happening for you what's happened for you between the last time you watched Chriselle on Joburg Housewives and what's happening now? Does it just feel more current for you?
I think, yeah, I think I'm older, and I think I've worked a lot longer, and I just thought that was a weird woman isolated in her hysteria. Whereas now, there's Christelle's, so it's seeming systemic. And that's seeming like
You've experienced more Christelle's?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've experienced
so now it feels personal.
That particular kind of white violence. And Christelle being on my television is not a kooky woman anymore who is bizarre, crazy, unhinged. It's feeling systemic. It feels like there's more than one.
Absolutely. I don't know if anyone might remember in the viewers sphere last week when you were also still in your shock, and I was saying I think Chriselle is that way because it's been beneficial and lucrative for her to do that kind of femininity that is kind of baked in victimhood, that is unaccountable, is actually the femininity that you were talking about when you referenced slavery, right? Like when we think about the definition of femininity, the construction of femininity, and womanhood, or desirable womanhood, it is founded in white supremacist ideals. Yeah. And so we are going to find expression, or the expressions of that concept of femininity in white woman bodies. And I'm sure the older the woman or the wealthier the woman, the more we're going to see that, which I think is what makes Housewives a very particular place when it comes to learning or engaging white womanhood, because it's a very specific kind. It's the wealthy kind, it's the resourced kind, it's the protected kind. Yeah. So those behaviors to me are not jarring, because I'm like, I am not surprised, because if I am Christelle, however many years ago, and I'm learning about what kind of womanhood, right, is going to be, how to embody my womanhood and the ways in which I can play around with it for whatever opportunism, I am going to lean into the unaccountability that I'm allowed to have as a white feminine woman, cis heterosexual white woman. I am going to lead into the victimhood, because that's entirely what my brand of womanhood, or actually the only one, the kind of global, the hegemonic kind of femininity is built upon. Yes. So I'm not surprised when I see rich white women who are out of touch acting that way. Now, I also understand that there is a real life version of it. I think there are elements, of course, that cross-pollinate, right? In terms of the rich women, that you only see on TV, and the everyday working women that you might encounter on a daily basis. There's going to be remnants of it, right? Because these are white female bodies, and so how they're socialized is going to be consistent. But I guess I also just, I don't know, I understood it. I was like, that makes sense. And when I think about the life Christelle has had, she's been a kept woman for a while and all that. So when I was saying the playing around, ditzy and all those things, that's a strategy to not be accountable, right? And so that will frustrate you, because it's no, but she knows what she's doing. Yeah. I made so many notes about her being able to evade accountability and responsibility, lying about things, taking jabs, saying certain things that are insulting, right? With this kind of facade of ignorance, right, in a way. But then also being very sharp when the same is being done back to her. So
Exactly.
Crystal has an understanding of what that subtlety in violence is, and she knows she's using it, and so she's able to be very confident when it's happening to her. So that's why you get her walking away no, she said this because she meant this. Because I was thinking, can we just dive into the dinner scene? She
whoa,
right? She walks away from the table because she's like, Liz made fun of my lazy eye or whatever, or like I don't know what she has. It looks a little bit like it's cross-eyed. I also can't tell sometimes where she's looking. I think it's just a condition that she has. And I think Liz knew she was being malicious.
100%.
I think she realized it sooner than she pretended to have.
Yeah.
And a few other moments from episode 1 and this episode happened where, like, Kongo actually, for instance, goes and says, Christelle, did she say that? Did she mean it like that? And she's like insistent. No, I know she meant it like that because Christelle knows that's how she communicates
because
as well.
she trades in that
exactly.
world.
So she knows it. So for me, it was interesting just watching when Christelle is smart and on it and sharp.
Yes.
And it's always very convenient. And it just reveals like her strategies.
Okay. You know what's also happening for me is that I'm recognizing that this is a tool that Christelle has.
That she's lucid about using.
Yes, she's lucid about this tool that she's using. She's deeply manipulative about it. It is a function of violence that she keeps and carries and wields when things don't go her way.
Yes.
What this tells me, though, is that this is endemic. And this worries me because I've seen these strategies being deployed in real life.
And you didn't clock that they were being done on purpose.
And I thought this was this person's problem. I thought this was the hysteria of a context.
Yes. You
Not
localized
a tool.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, it's so, like, I remember in recent years, I saw someone was talking about white women weaponizing tears, especially around the when we had a huge uptake in the kind of police brutality videos that Americans were taking, and the Karen phenomenon really just kind
and
of
then just crying
reached
after
a fever
done
pitch,
something
right?
crazy. Yeah.
And so it was around those conversations, and then someone. So it was, I was listening to a podcast where they were discussing it. And so in the following episode, they're like, last week when we were discussing this, a few young white women commented, my mother fully told me if things aren't work, for whatever reason, if I'm in trouble, if I'm scared, use my tears. They will work for me.
Sure.
So like that awareness, like that they will work for you, I think is a devastating thing to accept that they are aware of.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's sucks to go, that like you doing that can have grave implications for me or people who look like me, but you're using it anyways.
Yeah.
But I think maybe I'm cynical, but I always just assume people did.
Do you know what's happening for
it's
me?
interesting to have confirmations, right? But I think I also just always assume they did.
I'm at a place in my life where, humanities girls, when you first read Biko and Fanon, and you are like, whoa, is this what the world looks like?
When you're first like radicalized.
Right, when you first radicalized, you read all the kind of like black literature, you read all the radical liberation literature that you can get your hands on. And then you go, wait, something's amiss. Then you remember that gender is fundamental to the way that you understand it. So then you learn words like intersectionality. Then you start reading the feminist texts, right? Then you go, whoa, wait, something's missing. Then you go, wait, the different waves of feminism and how they account for black women is also integral in my understanding, right? So this is happening, you're 19, 20, and you're having this like, whoa, like all these different lenses to see the world and to kind of articulate the things that you didn't understand that were happening to you in high school, that are happening to you in varsity, that what. So you're having all of that, right? I'm in a place professionally now in my life where that education is steeped in my mind. I can write the dissertation around it. I can, express it. But that violence has become very articulated in my workspaces. And I feel like I need to go back to the books to highlight and reread and go, wait, this is a thing that I hadn't experienced yet because I hadn't developed as this other black body. the black body that I had when I was 19 is very different to this one, and has experienced the world incredibly different than what had happened there. So I think my sensitivity right now is very heightened, and that's why I'm so disturbed, because a new awakening is happening
It's
for
breathing
me
new life.
psychologically and psychosocially, where I'm going, whoa, this is, and you get away with it often, and your impunity is actually rewarded.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
sometimes infantilized, right? Like, there's
Which is what Crystal relies on.
and
Or women like Crystal.
and it's taken a show like this to be like, wait, these are strategies. Oh, remember?
Yes. Yeah.
And it requires me to go back to the texts and go, oh, this is in fact what is happening. I think that's just, happening for me personally and professionally. And it brings new meaning to shows like this. It brings new meaning.
Oh, that's why we love analysis.
And it's just not something on
Over there anymore.
It's really deeply imbued. Also, and because these things usually happened in such unhinged ways, the kind of violence that white women can wield in these ways, because that's the case, you localize it. You say that person is doing this weird
Why?
thing.
Because you don't want to believe it can happen again. Does it feel so outrageous?
Because it is often outrageous, ridiculous, unwarranted, unfounded, so that everyone, all the other white people that are often effectively co-signing it by not calling this person out and their behaviors out, go, no, but that person's a maniac. But that person's hysterical, right? As if it's not a function. By the way, I just want to clarify on this podcast. You keep hearing us say white woman, we're also talking about whiteness. I think that's also really important to kind of clock, and the system of whiteness and white supremacy, and the ways in which people can tap in and out of those strategies that have been provided by white supremacy for oppressive ends. Okay?
Yeah.
With with saying.
Yeah.
I guess I've just been trying to grapple with this in real life, and realizing that these things aren't random and aren't a product of my interactions with them, aren't a product of my interactions with them, which is often the belief people that are oppressed are meant to feel like, you bring out this thing in me. It's not, in fact, one of the tools that I wield for various ends.
Yeah.
I think I'm needing to go back to the books, and I am needing to reread and catch up, and think about, and this is a big task that I'm asking of myself, but I need to think about, like, what does it mean then to go create and exist in a world in which this is still an available means of violence for white womanhood, and what does it mean in real and serious ways for my capacity as a professional and as a citizen. Because I think there are actual political implications to this white womanhood. There are financial implications to this white womanhood. It strips people of jobs. It strips people of dignity. It strips people of various things. And look, this is a far bigger conversation than Crystal, but she just really, in this episode, triggered a nerve for me. And I was like, wait, I've seen this before. I've seen this. Ooh. this has happened. Oh, wait, no, it's exactly the same thing that happened there. So I think that those are my kind of like bigger thoughts, apart from like this happened in this scene and that happened in this scene. It's just impunity. I don't get it. I just get like, I don't know, man. I think being housed in this body means I don't get to do that. I don't even get to approximate that at all. And it's not because I want to, not necessarily because I'm like, well, this is unfair. But it makes me realize how off-kilter my experience of the world is in relation to that other person. That they are given grace, resources, and tools to continue to act with impunity. And I know that I wouldn't be and haven't been.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the episode?
All your top level
Those are my
thoughts?
top level thoughts. Another top level thought is, where's Londi?
Oh yes.
Is she in a quantum?
Yes.
Driving to Jamaica. Like, why is she still not here?
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I didn't think about her at all. And I think she can just stay where she is. Yeah.
Truly.
That lets me know I don't need her in the story.
Truly.
I really just didn't think about her until you brought her up now.
I'm just like, where is Londi?
Hopefully she'll tell us. Hopefully she won't pull an Amy with a G. Okay. So for me, I think a really interesting that's happening in this dinner scene. So the dinner scene, the opening scene is the dinner scene we closed with last episode. It's so interesting to me how Christelle, and I think I alluded to this when I was talking about Bev and the other women. Christelle is so very clearly the person that is disposable in this group, right? And I think that means something. I think going with this kind of white femininity, like, right, because that's what she is. She embodies everything we just discussed. In fact, she triggers it, right? For that, what typically should be powerful, we've just talked about how it should be powerful and wield, all kinds of power and achieve certain things for personal gain, but none of that is happening.
Exactly.
Here, right? Like, she's not getting anyone on her side.
And she's getting
she's
more
losing
temperamental.
friends.
Yes.
And she's going hysterical, which is so interesting. Like, it's the same beats that we see in those Karen videos. It's like, okay, you actually aren't running me over, right? But I've committed to the bit that you are harming me. So I am going to act like I'm stopping your car and pushing it back and like,
now I'm gonna be vulgar. Now I'm gonna talk about
yes, but I'm
things.
also just gonna get. All I can do is like get louder, and exaggerate the stakes. Like that's what they do. And she's like, "You're running me over."
Yeah.
You might know this video. I probably will overlay it.
Guy in a car, and now he's videotaping me.
Because this is
Because he's
unlawful.
hitting me. Ma'am, he's running me over.
No, I'm not.
Ma'am, hurry, please hurry.
It was interesting watching Christelle try to employ all of those strategies and none of them worked.
None of them
to the
are
point where she
working.
lost allies, right? Like
Yes.
Bev goes, I'm divesting from what you are trying to do here. And I am curious about whether, because Christelle says, Bev, you called me before this. What were you trying to do? I think Bev was like, I know this girl is crazy. I don't want to. I think Bev had a strategy. I just want to get to the bottom of it. But it's so funny watching all of that fall apart in the first 2 episodes. So that was fun for me. I was like, justice. What you were talking about, because she then I don't know if it's that night or the next day, she does go and speak to the butler.
Oh, it's a butler, yes.
What's his name?
Alton. I think.
Alton. And so Ultimate Girls Trip, they've been doing that. And I don't know if it was like an accident, like it's something they just kind of stumbled upon, or if it was their plan from the onset.
Yeah.
Since the first one, they had I think it was Bali. There was a very just adorable man running the guest house, also in the capacity of a butler. And he was just so personable and I think so emotionally dedicated to the women and like caring for them. And so he then becomes like the mirror. He becomes like the fish out of water in the situation.
Okay.
And he's there to kind of... at the time, it was more about look at the juxtaposition of a real life human watching Housewives in the universe. And so it was a nice dynamic to just watch him react to that, right? So I think over the years with the other seasons, I think there's been 2 more. they've had, tried to do that with other butlers. Another season where they went to Dorinda's house in New York, because Dorinda was the host, so she takes that role. So I think that it's a trope that they're trying to develop.
Okay.
And I don't think this man is doing it well, Shem. You can tell he's just so... And when he's asking the questions, you can tell the producer told him to ask those questions. They're so awkward coming out of him. Like,
they are.
So what's your journey been as a housewife?
As a housewife.
Like, what?
Oh, the people are mean to you.
Yes, and he has no context. It's charming. It's entertaining.
It is entertaining.
But it also is interesting how Bravo world builds really interestingly and builds tropes very interestingly. And it's been exciting, I guess, so far into, all of their franchises and in like the reality era of Bravo to kind of see them again, like build a trope before my eyes and me be able to tell this time, right? So that's fun. But yeah, I think, Christelle I think it's also why it's satisfying that it's not working, because it's like everything she triggers in us, like we get to have justice done by the other women, right? Because there are moments where it's like what she said was mean, like you were trying to make fun of her or get at her,
is absolutely
but now it's
being mean.
But you know what's happening? The social contract of gaslighting that happens to you in real life is happening to Christelle on TV,
Yes.
which is also a housewives trope. Like each season they decide who's just not who's going to be the target, so that everyone else doesn't kind of come under fire. So that's been interesting to see. It's like a weird justice that like you get to have.
It's so like you can't hold it. You can't.
The justice. It's
justice,
fleeting. Hey,
it's fleeting. You can't take it home with you.
Yeah, no.
So I'm still not satisfied. I did cackle very loudly when Liz was gaslighting her back, but there's nothing I can do with that.
Also, the way she reacts is so childish.
It's so childish.
That you're like, okay, I have to laugh at this. But also, Christelle, I mean, I was thinking about this at home, because for me, this raised, in my first watching, that first episode, in my first viewing, it raised alarms around femininity and like the racialized femininity. And I've been thinking about why that's a reason. Everything you said is definitely why. Like, but I think also because I recently learned about like the invention of beauty and femininity and what it looks like, and how it was all just to kind of redefine it in ways that are convenient for whiteness. So I think I'm able to, not able, it's not can or can't, but I think what it switched on in me, what it triggered in me when I was watching was that. Because my experiences of being in close proximity with white women in the numbers, I guess, would have been high school. Like for a close proximity, like it was girlhood. And it was my first kind of confrontation with what femininity looks like, or what it what it really is, and who it's really. And it's tricky because it's a chicken and egg thing with white femininity, because it's an invention, and so white women at some point had to like shift and work towards it. But now it's become synonymous. Skinniness is synonymous with white femininity. It's not necessarily a naturally white thing to be skinny.
It really is.
But it shows up in so many ways, and those ways are then what informs what femininity is for the rest of us, because we live in a white supremacist society. So I think for me, that's what it brought up. And I think watching Nonku, to an extent, grapple with it with Mel, of course, Nonku's approach of Mel is also influenced by understanding that Mel is someone who's currently in the news because she's been accused of big crimes, right?
Big crimes!
Right? Like, that's a big part of it. But I think there's also...
Huge crimes!
Dude. But the element of, like, child rearing or just having, like, childbirth, and Mel just being like, I'm not interested.
I'm not interested.
And I don't know what answer to give you guys. Those things for me really kind of, they caught onto what I was thinking about around womanhood and in a racial context.
Yeah.
What do you think of that scene in the van where Mel is being, interrogated, really? It's a very kind interrogation.
It's very soft.
LaJoy, Bev, Nonku.
Nonku is the person that started.
No, it's Liz, Nonku, and LaJoy. Bev is not there.
No, Bev is not there.
Thoughts?
Bev is having a moment with Christelle.
Yes.
Thoughts. Nonku, I think you are wrong 90% of the time. But sweetie, here's the 10%. here is the 10% queen.
That's not adding up.
That
It's a little rich now. It's a little rich
it's
now.
a little rich. I think also it's weird when Nugu's like, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm just like,
So what do we... that doesn't sound like something to you? Turn this on.
I was like, turn that on. I was like, why would you make that statement knowing full well your life is also questionable.
Your life is a smoke show.
Your life is a smoke show. Shut up.
It's a smoke program. If you know, you know.
It's yes. But it's one of those things where, like, it's the right question, wrong vessel, right?
Yes,
like, I would have gotten more...
Which Nobu doesn't care about.
She doesn't.
She'll just rebrand into being the right vessel.
Yeah, exactly. So it just would have felt sweeter if any of the other girls had asked
With a real
first.
moral high ground.
With the real moral high ground. That just would have been sweeter for me. But, Nonku, thank you. Thank you for getting us into this conversation. Okay, I want to say...
And she says, as someone who's been scammed.
As someone who's been scammed.
Allegedly. Let's keep alleged there for you, Queen. Because it was, excuse me, in the courts. Then it disappeared.
And then it
So we
disappeared
haven't
in the
proven
courts.
that you've been scammed.
Anyway, so then there's this man. Sorry. So when Mel and Pete come into the universe of Housewives, every sensible person would just go, hey, this doesn't seem like the correct move. You know what I mean? PR wise. Maybe you guys want to just be like, keep it quiet. Maybe just, you know. And then you realize from your first season, you go, oh, that was a bad strategic mistake. I shouldn't do this again.
Or you
What
realize
happens?
that all press is good press. They talk about me.
I don't know. Then Mel then goes to ultimate girls trip, right? Because I think someone even says, why are you here? Why are you here? What are you doing here? So to me, this is like, girl, you have actual Tammy Taylor saying, stop
Please
stealing.
stop. I do not want you to take my thing.
Stop, don't go.
Stop selling my name.
Stop selling my name.
Stop, don't
Right?
go.
She literally is like, please. She's even on TikTok now saying, hi.
Shout out to Student Patrol.
She's on TikTok being like, hi, I'm the real Tammy Taylor, and Pete Fulyon and Melanie. What craziness is this?
It's also hearing the little American like twangs in Mel's thick Afrikaans accent is so satisfying. Yes, sorry, keep going.
Anyway, so then when Mel makes these fake analogies about like, it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you all hate the week. So you're going to come here on Monday. I'm like, whoa. Queen, right? Then she
was saying in that moment that basically a few people decided that they had all these kind of different claims and they were like, okay, let's just come together, tell one story so we can target Mel.
Yes.
Still makes no sense.
This is interesting because Mel allegedly has lots of inactive shelf companies. So her analogy proves that these women were right. So this is why being a lying liar is not helpful in the public eye.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? And like, she doesn't have the vim of a politician who can just like...
She's not...
You know, in the same way when Zuma was like, I'm just doing a political something
Yeah.
to a whole journalist.
That's impunity kind of coming out. That's when you've imbibed it and it's a part of you and you just...
Yes.
You know nothing's going to happen. So you don't even have to...
So I believe that Mel still cares about what we think of her because she's now doing a TikTok campaign disproving the Tammy Taylor thing. And I went on this rabbit hole last night at 11 p.m. I just was like,
the Tammy Taylor thing.
What's going on? Because now she has videos and they're like cling cling, and you were like, and I would say clang clang, and then the dramatic effects and lights and stuff like that. So I'm just like, what is going on? Anyway, so in this quantum on Ultimate Girls Trip, she says Happy Simelane has sued herself, just making outrageous claims that she knows that we're going to fact check as the audience. So I just don't understand what was the plan when she came onto the show. And I think it's so fascinating that these women say, okay, wait, we all know that there's the fourth wall here, but we're going to break it for the sake of the show.
Ultimate Girls Trip is one where there's no fourth wall. They're allowed to kind of break, because it's the Avengers.
Okay.
So they don't exist in any one universe. So it's a cross,
Okay. Because then I was like,
it's the real world,
This is the real world. And I was really like satiated with that. I was like, oh, wait, this is a different medium.
Yeah.
This is not...
You know what that brought up for me? Because Umel isn't the first person to be first celebrity, right? Like to be the subject of an expose, a carte blanche expose. Mamkize, you know,
yes,
is someone who knows very well that experience. And what was interesting to me was, number one, just the flagrant arrogance of wealthy people.
Yeah.
And how, as a journalist, it's really, it aggravates me, but then I laugh very shortly after, because I know that, like, a journalist is going to prove the claims.
Yes.
And they will make the claims when they know that they are proven. So it's like, you are just so lost. And this is, I'm not making an assertion in terms of what Mel is guilty of or anything. But I think for me, not contrasting, but kind of juxtaposing that with Mamkize's persona or demeanor, actually, in the world, and demeanor in that interview with Carte Blanche, where she has said, you all lied. She's telling seasoned investigative journalists
Exactly.
that they got it wrong.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she's saying, come on camera and
disprove it.
And admit it. She's not even trying to just prove them. She's just saying, you lied, and I want you to, tell me, the cameras are on, you lied. And it's insane to me. But that's just kind of the fog that power envelops people in. I've seen so many powerful people recently, and I mean, even Diddy himself, and this is not to compare these women to him, but like that initial, it's not, you're not going to prove it. I've gotten away with it so many times, it's not going to happen, that you start to lose touch with reality.
Yeah.
And yes, while the judiciary, and I'm not being country specific, but like can be corrupted, right? While we know that this is not a fair world, or we know that power, right, like gets its way, it's still unrealistic to expect that, like, when investigative journalists on multiple occasions have proven that you are guilty of a crime, that you just have to keep you just keep putting out these stupid analogies, like unvetted excuses, story. Like, she's not even trying to be convincing.
Exactly.
And because I had to go, why would a rich person now not have a solid strategy?
Exactly.
It has to be a rich person who thinks that their money is enough,
Yeah.
right, to protect them.
Yeah.
This is someone who hasn't.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most likely it will kind of just, it will fizzle. I've had, this is off the record, I've had in my journalism career certain claims against Mel come across my desk.
Yeah.
But they couldn't hold water, at least for an investigative piece to be aired.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't mean they were
weren't true.
unfounded. But it's just proving something
Yeah.
takes so much.
Yeah.
And because wealthy people can further obstruct justice, right, beyond it being difficult to deliver, because they can also do things to make it impossible. I think they know that, like, I don't really have to be convincing, and
Yeah.
the people will forget.
Yeah.
We forget.
Yeah.
Erica Jane is still on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Erica Jane.
Right now, of course, we know there she just happens to be associated, like she's associated with the man whom the allegations have been made against. But for like 2 seasons, we saw the Housewives tussle with, like, morally and ethically, was Erica guilty? And the ways we saw Erica kind of engage that
Yes.
are informed by her positionality, which was she was a wealthy white woman,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No matter how she got there. So there's going to be that initial arrogance about, I care about me. So for me, that was so interesting.
It was very
to
interesting.
watch.
And it's interesting to watch.
And also, also the kind of cardinal rule that we know that, like, white femininity is always going to be protected like by white supremacy.
Yeah.
So we probably won't see Mel ever go physically to jail because Mel exists in a body that white supremacy considers worth protecting.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, we saw it with the college admissions scandal.
Yes.
Like, what kind of real punishment can you give the rich and famous?
Exactly. It's this hubris, though, Ayanda, that is so damaging to have.
In what
In a
ways when you're wealthy and
society?
you have real power?
No,
what
I know.
real damage?
But what I'm
damage?
the
For
thing-
you and I, yes.
I think that's what I keep being like, whoa, this kind of
It's
hubris
like flagrant.
Yes, it's just, I don't know. I think I'm just realizing things.
You're realizing things. Yes, it's
Kylie-
4:10.
Kylie Jenner, clocked it when she said, I'm just realizing things. This
It's
is
the
my
year.
year of
Yeah.
realizing things. And it's that hubris that I just can't get behind. And she just makes these stupid analogies in that quantum. So stupid, so
Yeah.
unbelievably silly.
I also just don't think Mel is that pop.
Yeah. And like,
And she's also trying to lie in a
and she's
language
trying
that's
to-
not hers.
Exactly. It's just too much. It's too much. I don't know. I just feel like if I'm going to be criming people, I'm going to be in the dark. Like all the storybooks said when I was a child.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the troll under the bridge. That's what I'm going to do if I'm going to crime people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to...
Not out in the in
walk out
yeah.
in daylight and start criming people and then being like, what?
Yeah.
So that's... Anyway.
No,
that
I honestly, like,
shocks me.
Housewives is such
Yeah.
a case study on impunity. And like,
Yes.
specifically that of the rich.
Yes. This is interesting, though, because a little bit later, when LaJoy is asking about the children, then suddenly the medium of Housewives gives what's her name? Who we're talking about? Who's this lady? Mel. Gives us an inch for the viewers because now suddenly she talks about the fact that she doesn't have family and bringing a child into this environment is
Well, I mean, she says that is like the third reason.
no, I know.
Yeah.
But suddenly we clipped that longer than we clipped the other things for me because then I'm like, oh yes, darling. Yes, in fact. And I feel bad as a viewer for like having had that information extracted out of you because that should be your own personal journey. So suddenly I want to be like, also, yes, this is your body. You don't have to have children if you don't want, like as the first rule of thumb. But now I'm also hearing the backstory behind it and your potential traumas around it. Oh, Mel, so sorry about that, girl. And I was just like, this medium is also made so that these women can continue to be unaccountable. Like I just feel like
By way of a backstory?
yes.
Okay.
Sometimes that kind of emotional porn
Yeah. Softens.
softens the thing of it's just it's fascinating.
What did you make, since you, like, your heart went out to her, what did you make then of Letabo's dissatisfaction with that? Because immediately Letabo says, oh, okay, I feel like that's just a fake. She's not giving me any real... Which I understand. As someone who's in that conversation, when you've said all the other ostensibly insignificant reasons, and then for the third reason, you now
Like,
land
wait.
on your orphaned self. I can see how that would be like, okay, you don't want to be real. I don't think that I would also then go the extra mile of going, oh, that was a nothing story. Like, that's not... Even if I might feel that that's opportunistic of you, like, you're not being real, you're trying to shut me up or, like, assure me, which Mel is well within her right. Like you said, she's been interrogated about her body. And it's like, girl, I'm a funike, even if it's a flimsy... Also, because they keep wanting a meaningful reason from her. And I think she gets tired of that and she goes, well, yeah.
Okay, well, here it is.
So whether or not it's the real reason or whatever, I think... how Letabo kind of handles it, I didn't like that.
I didn't like that at all.
Humane.
I didn't like that at all. And but this is the thing, right? Is that like if I was Letabo and I was like, this is a skabinga in this car.
Yes.
Skabinga, it would make it very hard for me to go, oh, poor skabinga. You're having a tough day. in
Yeah.
the moment.
Excuse me.
In the moment. I would hope
As she's sharing about being
yes, in the
orphaned.
moment. Later, I would hope that I would be like able to give her grace.
But in the immediate,
if a Skabenga is telling me another Skabenga story, and then suddenly has a moment of humanity, I know-it-alls, if you've been watching, you saw me try to give Nola, the Skabenga, some time. So I know my rules change, but whatever. I would also...
but she isn't. Her comment on that story isn't happening in the immediate. It's happening in the confessional after when she's thought about it.
Actually, you're right.
So clearly, like she probably just Mel
position.
doesn't win LaJoy over. I
That's
guess
her
is
position.
like the signal.
You're right.
That we can
Okay,
take.
yeah. So I think my initial response is I don't like the way that LaJoy handled that moment, but I also see why when you're like I'm dealing with a Skabenga.
Yeah, you just are not.
Yeah, you're just not.
Yeah.
You just make sure that you're not emotionally available for them
Yeah.
in any way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just such, and it's so funny because like every time I watch Ultimate Girls Trip, for instance, like to be specific, it's lightweight. It's not supposed to like do too much, but on my second viewing, I'm always like thinking deep, and I'm like, oh, there's so much material here, and I don't even think it's all material that is produced. Like it's just sociological happenstance, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I don't have much else on this. Yeah, that's me actually. I don't have a lot to say. I do wanna. Can I just, in terms of the final scene, just rip through all my favorite lines that are now coming with me from that scene.
Yeah.
Wow about LaJoy. She shouldn't have been so wow about LaJoy. Love wow about LaJoy. Feels like a reality show titled like Life of LaJoy. Wow about LaJoy.
Would be Stella.
She needs to actually pitch
merge.
that show.
Wow about LaJoy.
LaJoy. Second line. Living for the Lord.
You're an idiot.
Next one. How can something biblical be shit?
How can something biblical be shut?
I was hoping you would do that impression because it's perfect. Thank you. I actually
Queen of
was
Queens.
going to ask you to redeliver it for me.
How can something biblical be shut? Loved her. Loved her.
Oh my god. Oh, this is just an aside, it's not a line, but I think Lakongo was smart to abstain from that conversation.
Loved her.
Could have gotten sticky very quickly for him. When we started talking about Mel's husband
28.
and people being acquitted or proven not guilty, I suspect it's more of an acquittal.
But even in the
Like other people's
exactly.
ex.
But even in her diary, she was like,
Yes.
"Oh, Meli,
Angin down. You know? Well, I think that's the other thing that kind of made her not, and I, 5 minutes left. I think the other thing that made her not have the stomach for Housewives is that she's not that comfortable with conflict.
Yes.
She can stand up for herself. She's not uncomfortable with confrontation, but she doesn't want to just fight.
Yes.
And you can see her
For
always
fun.
kind of back away
Yeah.
when she feels like fights are getting too personal.
Yes.
Like she'll.
Yes.
So I understand her leaving the franchise because that's the whole unique
Selling point. Yeah.
But you know, and she has at the time she had real material to be attacked with.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Next slide. Shove it up your vaginal canal.
Magina. Sekukhona. Ibabidoni.
So yeah,
Shava. APS.
you're 8 down. 8 down. So that for me was everything. That scene I'm gonna go back home and rewatch that scene because it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's just the subject matter is heavy.
It's so heavy.
But
It's
the
so
people
heavy.
participating in it light.
And also just being like, just making such a terrible comment. The mother of a Barbie doll.
We're fighting about you being called Barbie's mom.
I just heard. Whoa, this is but this is the thing. Okay, I know
The
earlier on, I was really disturbed. But I will say, my second watch, then I got disturbed. My first watch,
okay.
I was like, guys, this is television.
Please.com.
This is television down. Because it is absurd that a 40-plus woman is now about to swear at you because you said you called her the mother of Bobby. That's insanity. That is so ridiculous.
But also, that's such a moment. I mean, like that also talks to like womanhood and femininity and beauty, because so what's being said there is that like you are now past your prime.
Past your prime. And then also she's sitting next to the person who's being told that they're part
she's
of their
Barbie.
prime. So she knows
Yes.
that right now comparison is happening, a comparative study is happening. So then
And I'm not winning.
So then she volunteers to us that her
husband.
28-year-old man used to have coitus with her every single day,
not used to,
twice.
has been doing so consistently for the past 2 years, every day.
Sorry, none of us needed that information.
Like, I may not have vitality in my body,
But
you know what I have in the house? Vitality through the body of a 26-year-old man.
Yes, and he's virile. And he's hot for me. He's hot for me. That's what's happening. Which I think is just so profoundly absurd. It's absurd, Ayanda.
It is. That's why I love it.
And that's why I was just like, this is
And also
such
life is
a
absurd.
Stupid. Why are you fighting about?
I love that. I was so. You need to understand. We watch Housewives of Potomac. People are fighting about colorism. It's hectic, and no one is
hectic.
wanting to like. No one. Well, the side that really should be coming to the table isn't, and so it feels like, oh, we aren't even able to move away from this and like come back to a place of levity or learn lessons and move on. We're stuck in this, and people end up saying they triggered. It's so refreshing to have material like this. You know?
Okay, so I guess like white woman fighting is fascinating. It's really interesting. I guess because I'm not in that community, it's also like...
Girl, am I?
No, I know. But it's sometimes I feel like an anthropologist, like meeting these people for the first time. These are their ways. This is what they wear.
Yeah.
So I feel like very like... What the hell is going on?
So
I think that's where I draw my levity from.
Yes.
But then I remember the real life violence that these people can
Yes.
inflict. So then I'm just like, oh, what do I do with it? But it is, it is a really interesting, fascinating watch. It is very fascinating. Girls, I think you should watch for the laughs first time round and then watch again to be like, whoa, what's happening?
What's at play? I mean, if you care.
If you care.
We hope to care enough for you.
Yeah.
But we also hope to inspire you to care. And with that, it's been another episode. It's been episode 10 of the Know It Alls podcast. We'll see you next week, babies.
We love you.